Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important concepts in cybersecurity. In fact, if you only remembered one thing from this lesson, I hope it's this. Cybersecurity is really about managing risk. Many people think cybersecurity professionals spend all day trying to stop hackers. That's only part of the story. The real goal isn't to eliminate every cyber threat because that's impossible. The real goal is to reduce risk to a level that the organization is comfortable accepting. Let's look at what that means. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you own a coffee shop. You have expensive coffee machines. You have customer payment information. You have employee records. You have inventory. You have your reputation. Now ask yourself, could someone steal from you? Absolutely. Could your systems fail? Yes, they could. Could an employee accidentally expose customer information? Of course they could. Can you completely eliminate those risks? No way. But you can reduce them. Maybe you install cameras. Maybe you make sure that you lock the doors at night. Maybe you train your staff. Maybe you back up your sales data every day in case it's accidentally deleted or taken. You haven't removed all the risk. You've just managed it. And that's what cybersecurity professionals do. So let's break risk into 4 simple parts. The first is an asset. An asset is anything valuable. We talked about that. An asset is anything valuable. It could be customer information. It could be a website. It could be a laptop. It could be a cloud system or even the company's reputation. The second is a threat. A threat is anything that could cause harm. Remember? Threat is anything that could cause harm. So that could be a cybersecurity criminal. A cyber criminal could cause harm. A phishing email could cause harm. An unhappy employee could cause harm. A natural disaster could cause harm. The third thing is vulnerability. A vulnerability is simply a weakness. So maybe employees using a weak password that's a vulnerability. It could be software that hasn't been updated. It could be sensitive files left open where other people have access. So finally, when a threat has the opportunity to exploit a vulnerability and damage an asset, that's risk. Here's an example so that you can understand it simply. A hospital stores patient records, right? Those records are assets. A hacker wants to steal them. That's a threat. The hospital has an enabled multi-factor authentication. That's a vulnerability. The possibility that the hacker successfully steals the records, that's the risk. Is it making sense? That's risk. Now, here's something that surprises a lot of people. Not every risk should be eliminated. Sometimes reducing risk costs more than the risk itself. I want you to imagine this. A small business that only has 5 employees, it cannot spend millions of dollars on cybersecurity. It probably won't. So instead, they invest in reasonable protections that match their business. So cybersecurity is always about balancing. So risk, you're balancing cost, and you're balancing business needs. That is why cybersecurity is not just a technical job. It's a business job too. Every day, cybersecurity professionals are asking themselves questions like, what's the most important thing we need to do? What's the most important thing we need to protect? Where are we most vulnerable? Which risk needs to be fixed first? How much risk is the organization willing to accept? Those are business conversations. Now let's talk about something called risk appetite. So every organization that you can think of accepts some sort of risk. They accept some level of risk. Think about driving a car. You wear your seatbelt. You obey traffic laws, you maintain your car, but you still drive, right? Why? Because the benefits outweigh the remaining risk. So you're taking a risk, but the benefits have now outweighed the risk. So businesses operate in a similar way every day. They reduce risk as much as practical. They understand that there's some risk that will always remain, and they address what they can. So one thing I want you to remember is this: cybersecurity is not about making organizations perfectly secure. There is no such thing. It's about helping organizations make smarter decisions so that they can continue operating safely. That's what makes cybersecurity such an interesting career. You're solving problems. You're actually helping people. You're protecting businesses, and you're making informed decisions every single day. So today's lesson can be summarized in one sentence. Cybersecurity is the business of managing risk, not eliminating it. As you continue through the program, you're going to start to see risk in everything that we discuss. When we talk about passwords, you're going to see risk. When we talk about policies, you're going to see risk. Everything that we talk about, we're going to be talking about how we can reduce risk. When we learn about cloud security, we're going to talk about how can we reduce risk. Everything comes back to this one idea. How can we reduce risk? So here's your action before your next lesson. I want you to choose an organization that you know well. So it could be the place you work now. It could be a school. It could be a hospital. It could be your bank. It could be your church, whatever it is. I want you to pick an organization that you know well. Number one, what are the 3 most valuable assets that they need to protect? What are the 3 threats that they face? And what is one vulnerability that could increase their risk? If you were the first cybersecurity professional that they spoke to, what would be the first place that you would tell them to address? So don't worry about getting the right answer. The goal is for you to start thinking like a cybersecurity professional. The goal for you is to start identifying what matters most and deciding where to reduce risk first. Please put your answers in the chat, and we're going to be looking at those and discussing them together. The more you practice, the more confident you're going to be in cybersecurity. So please make sure that you are doing the work. You can put your answers in the chat. Thank you.